Hi everybody and welcome to Money Man. Happy to have Money Boy with me today. Money Boy, how are you?
Good, thanks. Happy to be here. Made some money this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you make it on?
Japan, Scotland.
What?
Lost some money though on the soccer.
Ah.
But
Well, you.
up and down.
Yeah, you're still learning the ropes, aren't you?
Yeah, you told me not to follow your
Exactly.
advice, and so
thank
so
God
that's
you
why
didn't
that's
on
why
Scotland,
I bet on Japan.
Good for you. Well done. I want to teach you this weekend. We chatted the concept of handicap betting. Now, handicap betting, I've done a video on my website, and you can go to there, Betting 101,
Yeah.
handicapping. It's pretty explained. But if you look at any successful CEO in any business or any top leader, they consume a lot of information each year. The average CEO reads 52 books a year, one a week. And if you want to become good at gambling and handicap sports punting, you've got to read. Your week starts on a Monday after the weekend, and it builds up. Any information is power. Injuries, weather,
Discipline.
mood in the camp, discipline. Has there been, any sort of snippets that you can pick up?
Yeah.
And what I do with we've got 4 great games this weekend to talk about. Is what I do is I look at the games and then I handicap them myself. I say, okay, England versus Australia. What do I think the score is going to be? So I write those things down first, and then I go and check the handicap. Now England Australia, I had picked would be 11.5 points that England should beat them by.
Yeah.
I went I went and had a look at what the bookies are punting, and it's 8.5. So to me, you've got a 3-point difference there.
Yeah.
A massive difference in the sporting parlance. So to me, I look and say, okay, well they're up by 3 according to me. England should win that game by 12 plus. New Zealand, I had at 8.5. The bookies have them at 12.5.
Yeah.
So to me, there's value in the 8.5. I don't think New Zealand will win by 13. I think it'll be a closer game than that.
You think it's going to be high scoring or?
No, I don't really think that any of these games are going to be high scoring. Once you get into a playoff format, and you're going home if you lose, it just changes the whole mindset. It's going to come down to the teams that want the play to win, rather than play not to lose. And there's a huge difference, as any professional player will tell you. Then I went and looked at Wales, 6.5. 6.5 was the bookies. That's spot on.
Yeah.
And whenever you see a 6.5 and a 6.5, and you've handicapped the same as the bookies, stay away from it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just they've got it right.
Yeah.
According to me.
So you're basically saying that there's no value in a bet when the bookies actually.
Well, the value in betting is when you. Yeah. If you've said that England will win by 11.5, the bookies are saying 8.5. Take the 8.5. You think it's going to be 11.5. That's where the value is.
Yeah.
But if the bookies are handicapping the game the same way you are, there's no value in betting on the game because they've handicapped it right.
Yeah. So in an instance like the Springbok Japan game where they've given the box 14.5, but
my handicap was 20.5 to the box.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought it was going to be too. Do you then put more money on the 14.5, or do you raise your own handicap on the site to 20.5 and then an amount to get a better return, like better odds?
No, what I do is take advantage of the mistake the bookies have made, and bet the 14.5 because it offers 9 to 10.
Yeah.
20.5 may offer 15 to 10, and I might put a little tickle down on that. But the mistake is the 14.5. I think it's 20.5. It should piss in. And so the money goes on the bookie's mistake.
Yeah.
I don't then try and take myself on the handicap.
Okay.
Because I think the game's going to be 21 points, plus minus. But when I see that they're 6 points out of my handicap, that's when I go big. That's when, and even if I lose, I've still made the right bet. And that's what people having a hard time grasping in this world, is that when you see mistakes, you've got to, there's no guarantee.
Yeah, if it doesn't come off, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's been a bad bet.
What I want to try and teach you over the years to make the right bets.
Yeah.
To take advantage of mistakes is when you become good at handicapping and knowing a lot about rugby, and you see a discrepancy, that's when you take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that's where you're talking about like reading prior to the game. It also comes with a sort of passion and a knowledge for it. You know, it's like if I had to start reading about NFL before, I wouldn't really know where to start. But there was the one game you bet on where you had read that the team averaged it, 11 yellow cards a game. The referee had handed out 3 in his last however many games. So it was like you bet on the yellow cards and stuff. But it's like I wouldn't know where to start if I...
Well, there's websites that I use for statistical research, and I'll share them with you as you get along. But you're still crawling right now.
Yeah.
As soon as you can stand up, then I'll start. And you're an intelligent young man. You can do the research and share it with the people out there, because this journey that we're taking is to educate people and to help people.
Yeah.
It's not to promote gambling or to promote
Serotonin
bookies. And it's not to get people addicted. It's to get people. Our whole purpose of this show was to try and to see if we could turn someone that's never made a bet to make them a successful gambler.
Yeah. And then in terms of this weekend, it's 4 great games.
Yeah.
One would want to bet on all of them, but like you said, you see a thing like where you've handicapped them at 6.5, and you stay away. Does that mean that you do just completely stay away, or would you then look at other facets of the game to bet on? Like,
the
yellow cards, maybe certain points at certain times.
The yellow cards, they give about a 45 cents return on the rent bet all the time. So I never want to cheer for a yellow card. I'll look for total points and see if the bookies have maybe overestimated the total points.
Yeah.
So those are bets, the total points bets, over-unders on accumulated team points.
Yeah.
I may look at a first try score. So I'll look and see if there's any value anywhere. I mean, I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this for 30 years. So I know what to look for, and hopefully by the end of the year you'll also have learned an awful lot. So, but when it's your own team, Wales I was born and raised in Wales. It's a team I'll be cheering for. I'm also a bit leery to be placing bets
on them,
and I actually would probably place a bet on France.
Yeah. So there's consolation.
If France win, and use a bit of betting reverse psychology. Not that exists, but I'm kind of superstitious.
Yeah.
So, as Money Boy, I love that. As Money Boy, who are you picking this weekend?
Definitely box for me by 20 plus, like you said. I think not quite, probably around 20 to 25.
I guarantee you one thing, Ollie. Today, right now, it's 14.5.
Yeah.
By Friday, it'll be at 17.
I think so.
Yep. I guarantee the markets will move.
If I place a bet now on that and the odds change, do I get the 17.5?
No. If you lock in 14.5, they pay you. The odds don't move. No.
Okay.
Your bet doesn't move.
Yeah.
Your bet's locked in at 14.5.
I mean, people just like with Japan, it's like you could see they played well against Scotland, well against but we beat them by 40 points in that warm up.
Yeah, I'm not reading too much in that warm, but what I'm reading into is that South Africa are man for man better in every position on the field.
Yeah.
The crowd, the passion and thing, okay, it's good for 5 points. But if you ask Rasky who he'd rather play, Ireland or Japan, what do you think he'd say?
Yeah.
He'd never say it now, and it's, but South Africa will win with ease, and they should. And if they don't, they should be ashamed of themselves. I don't want to hear.
Performance.
I just don't want to hear about a brave performance.
Yeah. Rebuilding phase. Afterwards.
Rassi will not blow this.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think so. For me, it's South Africa. I think New Zealand will win as well, but I think it'll be a bit more than just 6.5. I reckon
New Zealand are favoured by 13.5.
No, I know, but you said you only think it'll be around 6.5. Yeah. I think I'm going to take what they put down at 12.5. I think.
Oh, you think you're going to win by more?
Yeah.
Well, that's the optimism of youth.
Fair enough.
And they may well. I got Japan. I got Scotland wrong last week. That's the beautiful thing about betting, is it? And the thing that attracts people is it. There's far more knowledgeable people out there in various things.
That's what makes it so exciting, though.
Exactly, and the reason that people think that they can win, it's the consistency to play and do things every week and not react and overreact or try and chase.
Yeah.
It's the discipline. that most people lack. Because there's a lot of smart people out there that have got a wealth of knowledge about sports, but they just lack the discipline.
Yeah. And I think that's what you said in terms of like chasing the bets, but also knowing when you've placed the right bet. It hasn't come off, but doesn't mean it was the wrong bet, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't then question your kind of mentality behind placing that bet.
Yeah.
Just kind of got to live with the...
Well, you've got to take advantage of...
I mean, yeah.
Well, look at it this way. If I could explain it to you this way. If someone said that they would pay you $2 if it landed on tails and $1 if it landed on heads, what would you bet on?
Tails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's going to come up?
50%.
Exactly. You don't know.
Yeah.
But the smart money is to take 2 to 1 on tails than the even money on heads. That's the only thing. Is there's no guarantee of any of the things.
That's what betting's
win.
centered on. You know, you can't try and beat what it's rooted in.
Yeah.
But just in terms of other games, I think definitely Wales to beat France. I just, as people always say, France are like these kind of come in at the World Cup and upset people, but like at the end of the day, they never, you know, haven't quite done it.
In a long time.
In a long time, yeah. And I think Wales have been good. I think Wales will 1 or 2 tries, and then England also around that 8.5. I think they'll take Australia. So. Yeah.
So, and you think there's going to be a red card this weekend?
Sure. I hope not. I
Yeah.
think it'll just won't make for a very nice sort of weekend of viewing, and it devalues whoever then goes through. You know, and that's what you don't want to hear about. Is like, well, you know, New Zealand would have gone through, but they had a red card, and that's why Ireland went through. You know, and vice versa. And it's just. But I think it definitely is a possibility. Guys freak out in high pressure situations. It seems like we were speaking earlier about the Sam Warburton one against France.
Yeah.
And the referees have been quite liberal with their red cards, so they don't seem to be holding back. And that high tackle law, like you spoke about as well, there doesn't seem to be any consistency with deeming what's a high tackle or not. It's like they're just kind of carding people. So.
Yeah, it concerns me because any piece of advice I'd give or any bets I make will be made with the assumption that there's no red cards and one team won't be at a huge disadvantage. Because in rugby, there's a massive disadvantage to playing 14 versus 15.
What actually happened? Are there any betting sites or ways in which like
you can bet on a red card?
Not bet on a red card, but if the red card changes the outcome of the match, the betting site actually compensates you for that.
Yeah, none that I know of.
Okay, because I mean there was that thing with Bowden Barrett where he knocked the ball on, and some sites in Ireland, Paddy's Yard.
Paddy Power are one of the greatest betting companies in the world in terms of how they've paid out bets on earlier than they should have.
Yeah.
You know, they're great marketing and gimmicks, and you know that's a marketing thing. So, but we can't access Paddy Power. We've got to use licensed companies here.
Yeah.
And they are behind the dark ages here in marketing and stuff like that. So.
They're all kind of holding on to the money.
Well, they're just not. You know, it's a relatively new industry here. It's a very naive industry, and that's one of the reasons why we do these shows and try and help people to get an edge up.
If you think, are you going to put a red card down? Bet on a red card this weekend? I think the most likely game would probably be Wales, France, or England, Australia. I don't think New Zealand are likely to get given a red card. Really, and I don't think it's the kind of game that's going to be a red card. And then same with Box Japan. I don't see, unless it's a freak incident, why there would be a reason for a red card.
Well, you know, the conspiracy theorists would tell you that would argue that there's no way that any of the IRB want New Zealand to win the Rugby World Cup for a third time, and maybe conspiracy theorists would say that. Maybe it's good for the rugby if Japan go through. You know, I guarantee you if those teams get red cards, then these conspiracy theorists are going to come out of the woodwork. And I'd be lying if I didn't say these things didn't go through my mind when I placed bets.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, not
it's always sad to think that there is
that element.
There is that element going on, you know.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I don't bet a lot on cricket.
Yeah, I remember we chatted about in the first video, your biggest loss was on the Hansi.
Yeah.
What
else have you been? You've been betting, what other sports have you enjoyed betting on?
Trying my hand at soccer, and it just really swings in roundabouts because it's like the odds are always good to bet on, you know, but
because there's 3 outcomes.
Yeah, 3 outcomes of it, and also it's just like, it's also not as certain, you know, even with the handicap, like even if you handicap South Africa against Japan, you can still be pretty certain if you're going to take the 14.5, like, I mean, they're given like a 1.9 odds, but like you're sure that they're going to beat them by 14.5 points. In soccer, even without a handicap, you're still like never really sure, you know, I mean, when Norwich beat Man City at the beginning of the, you know, a couple of weeks ago, that was like 1-26 or something like that.
Yeah.
If you would have, you know, imagine you just bet on Man City at 1-2.
Yeah.
And then,
Look, remember that cricket game where I think Australia scored 400 runs against South Africa. There was one punter in Australia, I believe, that put down $500,000 to get back $20,000.
Yeah.
And the against the Proteas winning.
oh, yeah, and lost.
And the Proteas chased down
Yeah, unbelievable.
I think it was 434 or
remember,
something
yeah.
ridiculous.
Insurmount, yeah.
So I can just transport myself to that guy's room
The frustration.
and see how
Not even frustration. Just,
the depression,
yeah.
the loading of the gun and the cocking of the thing as he loses half of it.
But like you said, that's the thing with betting, is there isn't actually ever really a guaranteed
There's no
outcome.
guarantee.
You know, it's like you can't just have a lot of money and be like, okay, I'm just going to put 5 grand down to get, you know, 500 rand back, because something could happen and you don't. So like with the soccer this weekend as well, I put Portugal to beat Ukraine, both teams to score, and then Ukraine won 2-0. You know, that really, like, if I'd done a bit of reading about the game and stuff, and that really wasn't the expected outcome, you know, across a few forums.
Well,
if you
this
looked
is
at
where I
goals
want to
scored
go. This is where I'd like to get you, is that you never actually ever place a bet without having done research.
Yeah.
And a lot of research. You know, if you're not putting an hour's research into any bet,
don't place it.
don't make it.
Yeah.
Don't make it. Don't be making bets on the run. And it's something that I do for the funds that I manage.
Yeah.
But I don't always do it for myself. You know, I enjoy a good punt once in a while. But it's that discipline to not chase. You know, that elusive dragon.
And not just go on that first inclination of like, oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, well,
like you said, it's actually, but that's interesting that you mentioned doing your own handicaps before you look even at what their handicaps are. So there's no bias in what the bookies have said.
And you know, ironically enough, most of South Africa is doing its own handicapping when it plays Super Brew.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they go in and you've got to put the points in there, and then so it's a form of Super Brew is handicapping. That's what you're doing. You're saying box by 10. You're handicapping. You're just not placing any money on it.
Yeah.
You know?
So this weekend, what do you think? Well, what's your biggest bet going to be on
South Africa to beat Japan by 15 or more.
15 or more. Yeah. Okay, I've said 50 or more.
No. Look, I might have a tickle for them to win by 30 plus.
Would you do that then? So like, would you ever bet on the same kind of like similar outcomes? So then putting most of your money on the 15 plus, and then maybe putting just a small amount on like 25 or 20.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Because I think
because you would cover your loss then. Obviously,
it depends. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I haven't seen the team.
Yeah.
You know, but I know it's going to be their best team.
Yeah.
You can take that for granted at this stage of a World Cup. So I don't think there's going to be so much support. As soon as we end this, I'm going to go and put 10 grand on South Africa to win by 14 and a half. I have to. Even if it loses, it's the right bet. Because I guarantee you that the next 2 days, that's going to be at 17 and a half.
Yeah. Just in terms of that best team thing you were chatting about, in James' recent column, he's left Malcolm Marx out of his squad, left Faf out of his squad. What do you, just because
I wouldn't leave them out of the squad. I'd certainly
out of the 23.
Did he leave them out of the 23?
So he's got Bongi to start, which I agree with. I think Bongi's been the form hooker this year. Skalk Brits on the bench. Then Kobus Reinach to start, Herschel Jantjies on the bench. Rassie Erasmus said earlier in the week that Herschel Jantjies will be in the team.
Look.
But I don't see Rassie dropping Faf, even though I don't think he should be there. I don't think he's the best number at the moment.
He blows so hot and cold.
For himself as well, not for the team.
Yeah, for me, his ball delivery is slow, his service is slow, he's erratic. And he was the best scrum half in the country, arguably, 2 years ago.
When there was nothing else.
When there was nothing else. Now you've got, I think Herschel Jantjies should be starting because he's a game changer, but not against Japan. I mean, I'd have him on the, it's, You know,
run.
Rassi will be pretty cognizant of wrapping some of these guys up and not wanting any injuries because his focus, he'll say, is on Japan, but it's on Wales. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, God,
No,
I'm
for
just
sure.
tempting the rugby gods now by how many times I said there's no way. But you know, Rassi is a master tactician.
Yeah.
He's one of the brightest rugby brains I've ever seen involved in rugby.
That's what would be so brilliant about an England-South Africa final, though, is it's like a Rassi versus Eddie. You know, the coaches' impacts have been so clear. I mean, New Zealand, Steve Hansen's obviously a brilliant coach, but like New Zealand have worked a system where for the last 16 years, you know, the coaches are integrated and they inherit the same quality team. But you look at what Eddie Jones did for England, how he came in, and what Rassi's done for South Africa, and the similar kind of squads that they've built up. You know, if you look at the depth of the tight five, the focus on the pack, the improving of the backlines, you know, communication and linking, it's actually two very similar backgrounds coming into the tournament, you know.
Well, even so much so that the intellect and their wit. Can you imagine a week build up with those two going at each other?
Yeah.
Oh, it would column inches, social media. That would be a dream matchup from that point of view. I'd love to see, because I think Rassi would bitch slap him in terms of his intelligence.
Yeah.
Not saying Eddie's stupid. He's a wonderful rugby brain, and he's quite a good sense of humor and good wit. But Rassi's a bright guy. Guy.
I mean, I hope all the bets that we kind of are placing this weekend come off, because it would be an upset. I mean, it would be more enjoyable for me to watch the rest of the tournament if the teams that I think are going to win do win. Because for me, if Australia knocked over England somehow, I don't think they're good enough to beat the All Blacks. No. But like, England are the kind of side that could be knocked over by Australia, but are quite likely to beat the All Blacks. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Look, but England to me has been, you know, my pick for the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, all along.
Have you put an outright?
Yeah. I put an outright on England. I took England to win the Cricket World Cup, and that money is, so I've got, you know, I think I get 10,000 rand if England, the rugby win. The big bet I'm going to make this weekend is South Africa to win by 15 or more for 10,000 rand.
10,000 rand.
5,000 in each fund.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm going to put down a big one on that too. I've obviously just got to look at what
easy
big
with
is
my money,
proportionally to your money. But
okay. Well, it should be fun, and look forward to chatting next week.
Me too.
Thanks for coming in, Ollie.
Thanks always.